When kids misbehave, 99% of parents will fall into this trap of tug of war with their kids, and I used to fall in this category until I realized that I was wrong. So a bit of premise, I'm a dad of 2 kids, 5 and 7, 2 boys, and I always fall into this trap, which I call the stare trap. So when our kids misbehave, 99% of us, which used to be me, used to do this. So S stands for spot shout. So what this stands for is, for example, I see my child having a conversation with my wife and suddenly he throws out a swear word. So without missing a beat, I spot it and I shout at him. Without missing a beat, I immediately call out his mistake. And then after S, which is spot shout, I do T, which is tackle talk. Without missing a beat, just like a rugby player tackles an opponent, I address their mistake. All right? I run in like a tackle, poof, not physically, but like my intonation, my tone, my vibe, to let him know I'm on the offense. And then A, which stands for attack, okay? I reprimand their mistake. You shouldn't be talking to your mother like that. This is a firm way to express my disapproval of their misbehavior. And then I apply R, which stands for reactive remedy, okay? From my emotional reaction, right, I then say to the kid, this is your punishment. You either go to the corner, go back to your room, 10 minutes, no iPad, no TV, just to teach them a lesson. And finally, E, oh boy, it stands for escalate. If you're like 99% of parents, including myself before, and you've done the stare trap successfully, for example, you successfully did the STAR, when all those 4 mentioned previous conditions become ripe, what happens in escalate is you guys will just get into a massive escalation, which means another word for fight. Your child is not going to go down when you do these 4 steps to them. They will find reasons why they are right and you are wrong, how this is unfair. And as this escalates, as they find more reasons to go back at you and you find more reasons to go back at them, it escalates further and further. And like 99% of parents who go into this tug-of-war fight with their kids when correcting their kids' misbehavior, they fall into this stare trapped. They're basically trapped. Look, I don't know about you, but I'm so sick of being trapped. Many years ago, I was like that, like you guys. But I have developed the 10-second love stare. Yes, it's called the 10-second love stare. And it completely changed the game in our relationships with our kids. Let me show you. So based on the same acronym of STARE, which 99% of parents fall into, let's pivot and change it to the love stare. So instead of S, spot shout, you turn it into silent sit. Let me digress. Parents, and I'm guilty of this before as well, okay? When our kids quote unquote misbehave, don't treat it like a sporting event. Like for example, the example I use, rugby, okay? It's not an opportunity to go, boom, tackle your kids, okay? Please use the time to address the misbehavior with your kids. Use that time when you spot that, okay? Rather than spot shout, get them to sit down, all right? Find a chair, find a spot, just ask your child to sit down while you go on knee level, eye to eye, okay? And please, this is why it's reserved for the 1%. Be silent. Don't say a word, okay? Once your child sits down and you're at eye level, number 1, you're promoting a setting of mutual respect and readiness for a serious convo, which leads to T. Rather than tackle talk, it's time. At that moment when your child is on the chair and you're on knee level, eye to eye, this is where the 10-second love stare, the crux of that acronym, 10 second, look at your child. So example, your child, boom, swear word at your wife or your husband. I'll be like, please sit down. And I'll just stare at him. And after that 10 seconds, you go on to the next step, which is A. Rather than attack, you just articulate how you felt. So after 10 seconds of staring at my child intensely, right? No me, no nothing. It's called a love stare, right? You're just staring at the child. I'll just go to him and go, hey, what did you just say to mom? And your child, 99% of the time, which I've tried this, will just like look down the floor and go, I swore her, you know. And I'll still maintain that intense stare and look at him and go, do you think that's right? And 99% of the time, he'll be like, yeah, look, it wasn't right. And this is a time for you to articulate how you felt. So I'll say, hey, look, what you said to mum really made me feel upset, because I usually don't speak to mum that way. And I usually don't speak to many people that way. And I feel really upset that you said that to mum. So after you articulated how you felt, and the child also acknowledges how you felt, you move on to R. Rather than reactive remedy, you just put a simple request. So then I'll be like, okay, buddy, which is where I'll put in my request. Next time, when you're in a fight with mum, can you try not to swear at her again? And of course, he'll be like, sincerely, yes, dad, because he was used to before, many times before, you know, go to your room, no iPad time, no this, no that. But the 10-second love stare is not finished without the E. The E is you have to explore. After you requested what you want from the child, clearly stating your expectations for their behavior moving forward, you explore things they can change if this happens again. Okay, what other methods they can use to avoid misbehaving or swearing at your partner, rather than, you know, going into the escalation mode of, you know, the stare trap, which ends up being trapped, a cycle of endless, you know, friction between you and your child, because they're still developing. You're attacking their young egos. And this video, if you've watched thus far as a parent from another parent, is a reminder that when your kids misbehave, it's not an opportunity for you guys to have an ego fight between the small ego and the big ego, okay? When your kids misbehave, I want you to use this as a golden opportunity through love to help your kids regulate and explore ways to be a better human being before they enter the big world out there. Guys, as you know, we're in 2024. There's still a lot of wars out there, conflicts out there. Big egos are up against big egos. Things are escalating every single day. We are trapped in a global, worldwide economy of like problems against problems, because these human beings are running the show. Whilst as parents, whilst we have these little human beings in our care, we want to teach them the best through the love stare method before they enter the big world. And hopefully when they grow up, hopefully my kids, 5 and 7, when they grow up, they can learn when they meet these big economical global problems that the other party and my kids can sit down and just peacefully talk through any issues so that we can have a better earth. Jump in the comments, let me know what you think.